We're here on John Lanigan's farm in Winegap, County Kilkenny. John is a dairy farmer milking just over 250 cows. Kathleen here helps John in the spring of the year rearing all his calves.
I'm Kathleen, I live locally. I was born and raised on a farm, so well used to milking cows and feeding calves. My occupation was a nurse, and after some 40 plus years I've retired. Over Christmas I had met John, and he had mentioned he had difficulty getting help to milk cows and rear calves for the spring. So we left it at that. During January I was thinking about it. I knew I had plenty of time on my hands. So I approached John and said to him I'd be willing to help him out. So he agreed, and we went from there.
So can you tell us about John's dairy system and his system in place for rearing calves?
John set up, he had the calf sheds opposite his milking parlour, so there's easy access for milk. When the calves are born, they're all given 2 litres of colostrum by the stomach tube to ensure they get the right quantity. Then they're brought over and we teach them how to feed independently on the milk bar. That's usually on day 2 or day 3. They're quite independent, so then I commence them on the BioBalance. I give them 20 mils each calf in their milk. It's quite easy to administer. We have our pens of 6, 8, 10 or 12. I'd say in a pen of 10 calves, I just mix in 200 mils of BioBalance into the milk, and they feed quite contentedly.
Kathleen, how would you compare your first year with John, where you didn't use BioBalance, to this year with John rearing the calves when you did use the BioBalance?
I saw a big difference in the 2 years. The first year I was there, we were, you nearly say, inundated with calf scours, and we were continually giving electrolytes. We had to call the vet to give them IV fluids to rehydrate them. Calves had stopped feeding. And this year I noticed that even when the calves are down or you're not feeling well or a bit upset, they will still come and feed themselves without any problems. And it was much easier, and you can see the calves are much healthier. There's a sheen on their skin, and they're bucking around the pens happy and contented in themselves.
The comparison between rearing calves last year to this year, having them healthier, hardier calves, probably made your life a lot easier.
Oh yeah, it was way easy. I didn't mind this year getting up in the morning, going up to feed calves, because I knew I was going into a shed of healthy calves and feeding was easy. Compared to last year, some mornings or in evenings you dreaded because you knew the calf wasn't well. You're after giving her everything. I worried during the day, would she make it through the day? Because I know from my nursing experience that hydration is a big thing. And I was just thinking the length of time between one feed in the morning and feeding the evening time. And then they took so much time trying to feed them, trying to nourish them and get them back to life. That was stressful work, and of course it took a lot more time. And then for some calves we had to call the vet, and that was more work. And maybe at the end of the day or whatever, we lose a calf, have to lose all that work and expense.
Yeah. And you've probably seen a lot of similarities between your work as a nurse then to rearing calves as well. Yeah,
I do. Yeah, actually, I feel that the nursing background is a big help, because I know by my trained eye, without even thinking, I'm naturally looking at a calf, watching her respirations, how she's looking and holding herself, and it's just the same to do with humans. And when you feel that when humans are sick, that you need to be nourished and cared for and be gentle with them. And it's the very same with the calves. And it's the same thing, they respond the same way.
So you've probably seen yourself, you're better to go in with preventatives rather than rely on treatments when the problem's already after occurring.
Yes, that's very true. And it's just like I was saying, nursing is the same thing, and we try and promote that to humans, that prevention is way better than treatment and trying to cure, and you save a lot more time. I know just given the BioBalance, in the morning it might take a little bit extra time, but in the long run it saves an awful lot of time, money, energy, time. So yeah, way out balanced. And
you've probably seen a big saving then in costs compared to like last year with veterinary costs and electrolytes and such costs.
Yeah, huge savings. Yeah, way down on the use of electrolytes. Call out from the vet are way down. I could nearly count how many times we had to have the vet out, and so it's much better. Yeah.
We'd look at the calves there earlier on, and they look like they're in great nick, but can you see much of a difference compared to the calves last year to the calves that were reared this year?
I actually can, and when I hadn't seen these calves for a few weeks now, and I was surprised how well they're doing and how good they are. And compared to last year's, now John always have good animals because he's good herd, but you can actually see the difference, that these are much more robust and full of life more than last year. Yeah, they were good, but they didn't stand out when you see them.
There's a great shine off them calves there.
There is. And you could see they've fed well and they were contented calves.
Yeah, definitely.
I was actually surprised because we had, like this year, we had some calves are born small and some are big, and it's just the way they are. And I actually wondered how would they fare out. And now just looking at them now, they've all caught up and they are more or less all the same size and all healthy and fat. Where previously you could you can see that was a small calf, or she was unwell when she was young and she hadn't caught up with the others again. So there is a big difference.
For any dairy enterprise, having small calves, you tend to put more into them to try get them to the average daily gain and the weight you want them to be, and that just adds up to the cost of everything. So when you have a system in place where you're just feeding your calves milk, going in with a bit of BioBalance, and the calves are naturally thriving and reaching their target weights easier, it's probably a big saving, and it's a big stress off anyone's shoulders.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it's great to have some backup like that the calves are going to do well, and especially with small calves, they will feed better and they're hungry for their milk and feed well. Where when we didn't any small calf, there was always working and coaxing and waiting for them to feed, and then you're always worrying that if they get any setback, will they be strong enough to fight it?
Yeah.
So it's much easier.
And you probably saw yourself just from rearing calves, it just made your life easier.
Oh yeah, way easier. And I even noticed this time because the calves are all the time well and you just feed them and it's easy. And I was actually finished before. Other year it took me longer and I was home nearly an hour earlier than previous year. So big difference.
Yeah. John himself seemed very happy with BioBalance, but he didn't seem too happy to speak on camera. But you yourself, from rearing the calves, how did you feel about using the BioBalance, and would you recommend the product?
Oh yeah, I was totally sold on using BioBalance. I think it's brilliant, and I have no hesitation in recommending it to any farmer. And I would say if a farmer was a bit hesitant about what is right or wrong, I'd advise him to get someone, even just do a trial on some calves, and I'm sure he'll see the difference and he definitely will buy into it.